Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Stuff, and I am hanging out this fine morning. I know it's a bit earlier than I normally do my streams, and that's because I'm part of the Adeptican't or Adeptican't at home thing that AOS coach from over in Australia was kind of trying to put together. He's an awesome person, and so I thought we would just wake up a little bit early, do some hobbying, and hang out and talk about Seraph, because that's frankly what I find exciting. So let's go to that downward cam here. Let me turn the light on. I'm a little bit cluttered on my desk space just because I got so much lizards going on. So stinking much. I see I got Matthias in the chat. Hey. How you doing, buddy? Let me just pull up my chat so I can follow along a little bit easier. And let me ask you this, what are y'all working on this fine morning? It's about 8 o'clock in the morning for me over here. But of course, this is a international thing. So we got people from Germany. Hey. So, as you can see, we've already kind of gotten started. We have 10 Saurus Knights here. I'm going to push them off. I finished them last night. And the only things that I have left from the 2 start collecting boxes, I have the Sauruses. So let's go ahead and build those. I typically don't like building things on stream, but it didn't occur to me until this morning I have absolutely nothing primed and ready. Let's see. So we have afternoon all. Hey Doug, from Manchester, UK. Oh, nice. Now that you're on, go back to working on this obliterator. Sweet. Dang Doug, good morning. It's like extra early your time. It is extra early my time. I actually don't really want to build right now because I don't have the wherewithal. Give me a hot second. Let me grab some stuff to paint here. Yep. I have all this time off and, not time off, but I had an extended weekend because I was supposed to be at Adeptican't, and still managed somehow to not get my workspace cleared up. So let me break into here. There we go. We're gonna paint some Escher girls because they're primed and ready. And I like them. All right. So we got these. I tried to do them as much with contrast as possible. Let me grab one more. It's always smart if you're trying to match a theme to have the painted one right in front of you. There we go. So now I won't totally botch it. All right, back to the chat here. Making bases for Demonettes. Nice. X1609 in Denmark. Working on evocators. Cool. Less Seraphon, more Wildwood Rangers. I gotta prime them is the problem. I just didn't get a chance to step outside and get them primed yesterday. And I don't want to obviously turn my airbrush on when I'm trying to stream. That would be a bit loud, wouldn't it? But I will get those done soon with some Wildwood Rangers for Jack because I need a break from the Seraphon. Not really a break from the Seraphon. I just don't like building models. You know, I gotta space it out a little bit. Hello, 2 Plus Stuff. Hey, Snow Fight. Forgive me, I just took my allergy medicine. It's been a rough season for everybody. Right. So here we are. Counting coins, then getting some gunpla, hopefully. Sweet. Yeah, I did, what did I do? An old heavy arms kit a couple weeks back. And it's just kind of a way to chill. I don't know why I find building Gunpla stuff very relaxing, but I find building GW stuff very annoying. I won't say stressful. It's not quite the opposite of relaxing, but very tedious for sure. I can say that. Couldn't believe my eyes when I saw the notification. Really weird time for this stream. It is. So let me tell you the story behind that. Basically, AOS Coach was putting together a schedule to make like an Adepticant at home thing, or Adeptican't, whatever hashtag you want to follow. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to help out. Love to be a part of it. That would be awesome. And I told him what time I wanted to do it, totally forgetting he was talking about Chicago time, not local time. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'm always up around 10. It's whatever. Not thinking I just signed up for 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, ooh. That's all right. It was my bad. And then when the schedule came out, finally, I was like, you know what? This is fine. I'll get up. Start my day off with some hobby. There's worse ways to do. First time live on Tubo Stuff. Another life goal achieved. Oh, Mr. DeWitt. I love the name, by the way. That's an awesome name. Thank you for joining us. Let's see, been working on D&D stuff. Going back to painting an obliterator. Sweet. D&D, I'm told, is a solid second choice when it comes to engrossing hobbies that suck all your time. Alright, I'll put her down. Let's see. Thank you for all you do, man. Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind of you. It is nothing special. Been trying to stream more live this week, just to hang out with people, because I know folks are at home stuck. But that's about it. Nothing special about it. What I will say though, even though I'm not building them right now just because my eyes are still waking up, very excited for the Seraph book. I need to find a way to make Coattle's Claw a thing. I don't mean like necessarily a tournament list. I got some yellow on her hair. That's okay. But just something where I can go to a 3-round event and have a good time without getting crushed too hard. I want to go 2-1. Well, if you're DMing, you can be like to me. Oh, D&D. Yeah. I imagine. The allergy stuff with all that's going on lately, but you feel like the guy who has been hit like a zombie. Yeah, no, for me, my allergies always attack my eyes first. Like I just get beat red demon eyes and I can't see a thing, and yeah. So I actually have not been painting a ton lately. I finished the Goliath Gang pretty much on stream, and that's really been it. Oh, there. Hope you are well. Giving your backlogs the love they very much deserve. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, man, it's the time if you want to go back in time and hang out with younger, more impressionable Doug. Absolutely. You go do that. By younger and more impressionable, I mean like, Doug from like 2 weeks ago and so forth. That guy didn't know what he was talking about. This Doug knows exactly what's going on. So let me ask you this. What does everyone have going on in the absence of Adepticant? This whole thing was thrown together as a way to give us something to do, people to hang out with, some little bit of direction here during the craziness that's going on globally. And for me, I'm painting up some Escher girls, and then what am I going to do? Throughout the day, I'm going to be working on videos for this coming week. If you were sent here by Coach and you don't actually know this channel, my name is Doug. I do lore videos mostly, but a few hobby hangouts here and there. So welcome. Do you have any plans to review the Skink Start Collecting box? Yes, I do. I don't know when it's going to go up, but it's definitely... a lot of folks have reached out and been like, really like those Start Collecting box reviews. Could you do one for this? part of it is I'm learning the book as well, and so it takes just a little bit of time to like understand, like, okay, so if someone had this, what's a great next step in that kind of, answering those questions, but in doing so intelligently. Snowfight, oh, donation, thank you so much. I super appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. Hail and well met from UK. Nice, nice. The pipes in my apartment decided to break, so I've been... Oh, no. Paying my death card. Been painting Oculus. Been painting an Oculus Medium. I don't know what that is. Is that like where you put on the Oculus Rift type thing and then you just kind of paint in 3 dimensions? All I know is like I see the Stoner's Dream commercial every once in a while. Try to focus on painting the unpainted backlog. Yep, totally. And that's something I've been working on as well. It's actually one of the reasons I decided to grab these guys. Like, well, if I'm going to be painting something rather than building, whilst I struggle to wake up. Absolutely, let's crank these guys out. Although, like, my drive has kind of been shot since I kept finding more and more Escher sprues. Because I had friends who were like, oh yeah, I got an Escher sprue for Necromunda. I was like, yeah, you want it for like $5? I was like, yeah, sure, that's a great deal, whatever. I just kind of kept hoarding them until this last time I cleaned out my office, and I was like, oh my god, I have enough to make like 4 gangs. Grab some Skaven Blight Dirge. My goal is to get my Chaos Space Marines done. Nice, nice. Yeah, I've actually been pretty good about actually wrapping up projects lately. Projects, my goodness. Projects lately. Like, I finished up the Nurgle. Then I finished up the Necromunda Dark Uprising terrain set, like with the floor tiles and everything. I posted a picture of that. Which I feel good about, because I kind of did those before I started touching the Seraph, which I think was a good idea. Makes me feel like I got some progress done before I started engaging with something else. So, I feel like that was a good move. As far as other stuff, that's really all I got. How do these leggings work here? Okay. Want to get Scar one day? Scar. Oh, Scar Bloodwrath? Yeah, he's cool. Yeah, he was I believe he was an End Times character back when that first came out. I think, because I think he came out around the same time as the Blight Kings. Maybe I'm wrong. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Was Scar Bloodwrath part of the End Times release before AOS dropped? Oh, good. I see the cold ones. Yep. Yeah. I'm still waking up, so I didn't quite want to just jump into building right away. But yes, cold ones are done being built. I'm just taking a quick break because honestly, building models is the worst to me. I don't like it at all. And if it wasn't for all this quarantine business, I would have definitely gone in and like gotten someone else to build them for me, because that's something I put out there online. I was like, hey, does anybody want to build these for money? And some local guys were like, oh, I'll do that. So yeah. Yeah, one sec, I see something in the chat. Reeling Ones Jack, thank you for the donation, sir. Don't forget to tune in to Reeling Ones at 12. Yeah, just a couple hours. And see Doug play me an epic battle of Nurgle versus Seraph. Brent will be in the chat commenting live. Yes, and I hope to be there as well. Commenting. I'll get done with this well before then. But that was a super fun game. I will not spoil anything. So I think that's the first time, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack, isn't it the first time that my Nurgle have been on your channel? Or I guess televised at all, yeah. But they're looking good, they were super fun, they did exactly what I wanted them to. Coalesced are the best, thank you Tiny Tyrannosaurus Rex. I will say, it's tough. Like, we were having this debate in the Rerolling Ones chat about, like, you know, which of the Starborn or Coalesced, right? And if you're not familiar, there's some pros and cons to both. But if you are Starborn, you get to act like the Seraphon, largely like the Seraphon that we've known up till this point, with the summoning and the, you know, emphasis on magic, and you have Bravery 10 because you're kind of a demon but kind of not, that kind of stuff. And then if you are Coalesced, which is the new thing, then you don't have any bravery modifiers, positive or negative, but the bravery is like 6 to 8 depending on the unit. And you get more bite with your jaw, you get basically another attack. And so there's some, I think there's play with the Coalesced for sure. But it is a whole new toolbox that we need to figure out before we can really tell. I missed the OP summoning. Yeah, they did quite a bit of reworking on that. I mean, well, I say quite a bit. It's like a lot of subtle stuff, you know, as far as like only your first spell and that kind of thing. There's a Sora Star in the sky. Yeah, actually, so I sent the message out to the guys yesterday that I definitely, so I did lore notes for the constellations, which are like the sub-factions of Seraphon. I was finishing up the notes for that yesterday so I can record it today. And I was like, I want to play Coatls Claw. I need to find a way to make this great. And by great, I mean I just want to go 2-1 in an event with a narrative list. That's my definition of great, in case anyone's curious. So I'm still working on that. And by working on it means I'm doing no research, putting in no effort. I'm kind of just saying that. But it's one of those things that I'm not somebody who can like read a book and just kind of understand all its rules. I don't know if anyone in the chat is like that. But I keep reading it and I'm just like, there's so many options. I get kind of lost. I think kind of deer in the headlights-y when it comes to all the different army builds that there are in the Seraphon book, which is a strength of it. But also it is it's a lot. Because, you know, your first choices that you make when you're building the army are the most important ones, you know, Coalesced or Starborn. You have to choose. Any lore contest winners this week? I'm going to try. I apologize, my work. We are essential, and it has been crazy with all that's going on. And so that requires me to have access to my 2+ tough email, and I've just been at work quite a bit. But I do want to get them cranked out because I want to wrap up everything with that contest. I'm not a big fan of having a bunch of stuff in like the back burner of my brain, like, oh yeah, I still gotta do that. I don't like that. So, random question: is anyone enjoying Animal Crossing at this time? You see a lot of memes about it. Don't know anything about it. I don't know. I see more memes that are like, why do people like Animal Crossing? Like, it's kind of like almost offended that it's such a simple game. It's like, people love simple games. Like, I mean, for the same reason we loved Animal Farm or whatever. Was it Animal Farm? Whatever it was, the app one for Facebook, where we all just sat around growing wheat for 9 hours. Like, it's just a simple, fun thing. Let's see, just ordered Pokemon Shield. Sweet. Is that the newest one? I can't recall. I don't know. I lose track of what they're on. Once they, it's kind of like math. Once they started adding letters and stuff, like Pokemon X and Y, I was like, I'm out. my understanding of Pokemon games and series caps out at colors, like blue, red, emerald, all those kinds of things. Okay, I'd been here sooner, but I actually listened to the entire 5-minute Chris Hadfield masterclass without skipping. That's funny. Well, welcome, nonetheless. Let's see. Get this backpack done. So yeah, I don't know. Pokemon for me is one of those fun things where it's like there's a lot of nostalgia there. I mean, my gosh, my generation was the ones who were obsessed with the first wave, the OG wave. Back in my day, there were 151, and there were so few you could even put them all in a single rap song. I'm a decade behind when it comes to video games. Bought the Switch the other week because it was on lockdown. Now I played Dark Souls game. Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I don't buy games when they're new because I can't keep up with video gaming as a hobby, and so I buy older games. I'm like, oh, I think Fallout 76 is probably the newest game. Like, it's one of the few times I've ever played something that's currently being enjoyed by people or ridiculed by others. Whatever. I enjoy it quite a bit. So it's like one of those weird things where it's like I can go online and find like recent discussion about this. Or normally I'm like, hey guys, have you guys played The Last of Us? And I'm like, yes, Douglas, it came out several years ago. It won numerous awards before you ever discovered it. I'm like, oh, could have just said yeah. Could have done without that. All right. Greg from Sigmar. Hey, y'all. Listening in while working from home. Hey. How is it going? Let me grab some flushed colors here. Grab some Gilliman flesh because it's white people in a jar. And my go-to for dark flesh is Sigor Brown. The Last of Us is amazing. 2 hits this year conceivably. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that all pans out with delays in development with everything. My goodness. But I was very excited. Like, it's one of the few franchises outside of any kind of Warhammer thing that, like, my wife knows that I'm incredibly intense about. I would just be like, hey, isn't that coming out soon? Can we get that for you? That kind of stuff. Like, just being really sweet about it. And like, oh, you're too good to me. Let's see, who do I want what skin colors? So, I don't think I have a dark skin auto gunner, so we'll take her. Say, has anyone played Battletech? I haven't, but I'm constantly tempted because there's a channel. I had him as a guest here recently, Cranky Old Wargamer. We did a hobby hangout, and he does quite a bit of Battletech. And so it's something that he's been talking about and showing off to us. And I'm sorely tempted because it seems up my alley. Good morning, Doug. My sleeping patterns are a little messed up, but I just woke up here at 2:30 a.m. Oh my gosh. Well, welcome. Don't forego sleep to hang out with little me, but welcome while you're here. And we're just throwing the skin down. But yeah, so he does quite a bit of Battletech stuff. I know he's said he wanted to get into doing lore videos, which is why I've kind of held off on doing it. But we'll see. Make sure to get her neck, I think. She's pretty good at that point. All right. And we'll do one more. We'll take girl with the dual wielding pistols. So in Necromunda, if you have, you can carry 2 pistols, and if you decide to shoot them both at the same time, you get a -1 to hit, but you can shoot 2 guns and go crazy. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Let's see, just got off late, my night shift. This will be a nice sit back for a bit. Oh yeah, please join us. Grab some models if you are feeling so inclined. But we're just going to be chilling for a little bit. Did not realize how early I was signing myself up for when I agreed. So I'm still kind of, a little bit drowsy. We're getting there. She's wearing gloves, so I can skip the hands. Just get those fingers. Doug, where are you based out of? I am just outside of Seattle, Washington, in the U.S. Little suburb off the side of it. So it is about, what is it? It is 8:36 here my time. Make sure I got her neck. I missed a spot. Okay. Alright. Got those 2 done. Yeah. Let's see. Rex, are you talking Battletech computer game or miniatures game? Ooh, good question. I assumed you meant the miniatures game where you play it on the board, because that's what I've seen recently. And let me ask this: did Battletech come out with like a new edition recently? Because I feel like it's been talked about more now than I've ever heard it before. Like I always knew it existed because it's kind of one of those like games that's just in the history like. Everyone knows this thing. It exists, kind of like D&D. It's like I never played it, but I know about it. But I'm just kind of curious as to why the sudden uptick in conversation globally, not just here. A cold one-sized duck or a duck-sized cold one? I would go for. Ooh, I'd go for a cold one-sized duck. Because ducks are terrifying if they get that big. Oh, my cat's trying to break into the office. I thought it was my wife and I was like, oh, that's funny. Cold one-sized. Oh, you would go with a cold one-sized duck? I don't know, man. They're not nice creatures. Get her fingers. And her hair's covering up half her face. That's good for us. Alright. Now, these gals, the intention was to do this largely with contrast. The whole idea was like crank out gangs really fast. It's a nice little painting break, basically, for other stuff, and that's exactly what we're keeping up here. Good morning, Doug. Hey, Strength Hammer, what's up? What's up? Good morning, everybody. Just hanging out during our little slice of Adeptican't. Yeah. I was a little bit bummed. This stream almost didn't happen because my work schedule. So I had requested the time off to go to Adepticant, and obviously everything changed. And I'm pretty flexible, but they were able to work it so I could at least make some of my hobby obligations. So I took yesterday off. I got today off. So you're stuck with me. Let's see, I used Gorgonta fur for all the straps, it looks like. This is why you always have a test model. Good morning, Doug. Currently painting a Stegodon in isolation. Right on, right on. How are the Seraph coming? They're good. I built the 20 Saurus Warriors. There's my 15 Saurus Knights, so I still have that extra one. Because I got 2 Star Collecting boxes of the Saurus version. And so, yeah, I got those built. These are not fun models to build. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, people complain about the sculpts. I don't actually mind the sculpts that much. They very much look like they were meant to be rank and file. I get that. But I don't mind them. But building them was another story. That was not great. Give me a hot second here. I'm just grabbing some paints. All right. Try something a little different on some of these. So this is always my chance to try contrast paints that I have never tried before. So I have a blue here, Ultramarines blue. So let's try it on someone's hair. Let's go on hers. She looks like she would have blue hair. That's a cool one. This is, I think, the Ultramarine Blue is the one they used in all those promotional stuff for contrast paints, where it's like just a solid wave of paint crashing into a Space Marine. I don't know if you guys have seen that promo picture, but it doesn't work quite like that, but I like it. Give it a light dry brush and all of a sudden it'll look great. And what other colors do I want their hair to be? So we got a blue. Let's do a green for sure. Oh, hey, there's the paint I was looking for. Do a green. Okay. It's just one of those mornings where I cannot find any of my paints. One thick coat. Exactly. Let's take someone with darker flesh. We're going to give them some bright orange. This is really why I love the Escher stuff. It just looks so good the more gaudy and clashy you make them. Kind of, I mean, Tzeentch is kind of the same way, right? The more you experiment with colors and make it all wild, the more just interesting they look. I do also have Goliath gangers that I give them all like Skittles haircuts just to... Not all of them have hair, but a lot of different colors. I don't know. I love the wild 80s, you know, drug bender aesthetic of like, we're here, we're like rebellious punk metal. And so I lean rather hard into that with all the clashy colors and spot there, spot there. Sweet. Sad day was priming models. My airbrush stopped working last night. Oh no. Announced this weekend, Citadel Contrast Super Soaker. I love it. That'd be amazing. Huh. I'm like missing colors because I should also have a Vulpus pink somewhere I wanted to use. Ah, here it is. Let's give green here to this young lady. And so when I do contrast, my favorite way to paint with contrast is I'll throw the contrast down. You gotta let it dry an extra long time compared to like acrylic paints. And then I do one highlight layer afterwards. And to me, that is just prime. You know, once you figure out what colors are good for highlighting which contrast paint, you'll be in heaven. Alright, got that. And Vulpus pink. Here we go. And we'll make this last gal pink haired. Now I don't actually have names for these. This right here, my test model that I'm using, is my absolute favorite. She is a ganger who uses shotgun with acid rounds. And is just, that's my favorite concept. I don't know why I like it so much, but 110%. When I discovered there were acid rounds in this game, I was like, I need that. There's just no way I cannot have it. There we go. As someone who uses mostly Vallejo, I still have not used contrast. Now that the hype period is over with, is it worth it? If you want to dip your toe, so to speak, I definitely recommend starting with the browns. Like if you're trying to slowly build a collection, with the exception of Cygor Brown, that one's a little intense, but it has its uses. Gorbrenta fur, snakebite leather. The browns just work perfectly. It's exactly as advertised with those. Not every color is the same. Some of them respond very differently and that they're much more opaque than others. But ones that I really like, if you're looking for specific colors, I like the browns like I just talked about. I also love Megos purple because it kind of swings the other way where it's so thin that you can use it right out of the pot for like cool effects. So trying to think of an example, like I use it for like swollen flesh because it kind of adds a little slight pink hue to skin colors. Almost like it's a wash, but not quite. So yeah, they definitely have a place. Certainly in my painting cabinet. I mean, it's not like I was sent free anything. I just found a place that has them for cheap, and I've been hoarding them. But yeah. There's that. Question, Hugh. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, I like them. Like, it's not one of those things that I would tell you to go out and like buy the whole set, you know. But as you need colors, like I said, the one thing I really like doing is finding a contrast paint and then whatever highlight you're going to put with that, and kind of use that as sort of like a power pair color wise, and they work out really fantastic. And I find them really useful for stuff like when I get to the end of a model and I have to paint the dumb little stuff like the little straps and the baggies and the handles and all that little tiny detail stuff. It is really nice to just splash some of this stuff on, and it looks good. And that's really what I use contrast for the most, is those little things. This is a somewhat of an exception because part of the goal with this Necromunda Warband was to like get out of my shell and try using them more. So that's why it's mostly contrast. But even then, I'm still going to go back and do washes and stuff. It is painting differently, though. I will warn you about that. A little bit more brush control. Yeah, pigment varies from color to color, absolutely. Let's see, I need to put down some metals. I need to get some black on there. Here we go, Iron Warrior. I don't think it's beginner friendly. That's in the eye of the beholder, because like if you are used to painting one way and you're struggling to make the change, that's different than a new person who hasn't painted something of this scale learning that kind of brush control at first. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer there. That's a preference thing, but yeah, I see your point. Many of folks have expressed the same thing, but honestly, I don't know. Once you get used to it, and it doesn't take a lot. You can give it to a kid and they'll figure it out real quick how the painting works. We talking about contrast? Yes. Yeah, a little discussion about whether you think it's newbie friendly or not. I say it is. But it's not the best when it comes to like if you know you want to paint one way and then you start with the other one, meaning like you start with classic method versus contrast. I don't think it's the easiest thing to switch, at least in your brain. But yeah. I don't really now that I think about it, I don't really have a strong preference as to. I saw in the chat someone said like they think that you should learn to paint the classic method first. I don't really have a strong opinion on that one. Generally speaking, whatever gets painted models on the table and new people playing. So maybe having someone who can explain the two different options to them. And just kind of approaching it that way. Letting them decide what they want to do. Honestly, some of the contrast paints can be used as a wash. Yep, I do that quite a bit with specifically Megos Purple. I've used like 2 tubs of that. Because I do, on my Nurgle, I'll do skin, and then I'll go over it with Megos Purple in the more like warped areas, and it makes it look very strained and swollen. I think it looks fantastic. A lot of people have said that yellow is a hard color to paint. It can be. GW has, if you're a new painter, if you don't know, Games Workshop has a painting app where they have a whole bunch of like step-by-step guides on how to like, you know, mix colors together to get the right one. So that's a great resource for learning how to paint specific colors if you know exactly what you're looking for. So they have a whole different kinds of yellow, like pale yellow, almost like a neon-y type thing. I don't know, everything. I started giving examples of yellow and then quickly realized I don't actually know very many yellows. All I know is like the Creole, like mac and cheese and that kind of yellow. I used contrast recently and feel a bit betrayed. Oh, because you liked it? You wish it was always that simple? Personally, I mean, my honest stance on contrast is it's a really good tool to have in your cabinet, but it's not, I mean, it ain't the end all be all, you know? I mean, there's other ways to achieve the same effects. It's just another tool in the chest. Love the bright yellow armor on the Studio Iron Jaws. Actually, so, I mean, depending on if you like it, but this is their yellow contrast paint, and I like it a lot. I use it for my Escher girdles. The only thing with the Iron Jaws that is going to be hard with contrast is they have a lot of just big flat panels on their armor, like the shoulder plates and all that kind of stuff. And so contrast does not do super well on big flat areas. It can work, you can make it work. But realistically, it does a lot better with like textures where it can sink into the cracks and kind of show you off the details on a model, that kind of stuff. A lot of anti-yellow prejudice still comes from people prime black. Oh, I'll give you that one. White is the color I've never been able to make it look good, like a hard, clean white, like on armor or something like that. If you're painting, what are the boys from 40K? White Scars. Like I've never been able to get a nice crisp white. Always looks off. Let's see. I like contrast paints, they have purpose. Agreed. That's pretty much where I stand. There was a lot of people. I think part of the problem with the launch of contrast, and I talked about this before, was like I feel like they've moved away from it now, but when they were selling it initially, they kept putting it out there as like contrast or classic. But the truth is, I've gotten the best results from combining the two. Like I said, doing contrast paint and then doing what we would call a classic method of adding an extra layer to highlight it. They look fantastic when you start doing that. And so they do it now, like in battle tomes, they'll have like a mix of contrast and classic. But for some reason on their channel, YouTube channel, Games Workshop still really just kind of keeps them separate. I'm like, no, that's not the way to do it. It's because, you know, like I said, they are a specific tool, but when you combine that tool with others, my goodness, opens up a whole world. And then if you add more tools in your toolbox, like for example, I'm going to be doing the base coats of my Seraph with an airbrush, right? Get some blues in there and then go back over with some contrast to like darken up the scales and that kind of stuff. Like, oh man, I'm excited. White stuff, white scars, aka space Mongols, as opposed to your space wolves or space Mongol. Yeah, they're kind of the same. I don't think I've ever met anybody who's truly like, you know what I love? I love my white scars. Like, I don't know. I've met a lot of people who are into like a specific faction. Never met someone who was into that specific faction. I'm sure they exist. Sorry, clear my throat there. Hey Doug, glad to see you. Okay, buddy, thanks for continued input on the hobby these days. Yeah. No, I'm happy to. I'm glad folks were receptive to just hanging out and playing video games together, because honestly, sometimes that's how I kind of like my brain defrags, you know, to kind of chill out. It makes painting plague monks really easy. Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine for horde armies, that stuff's a dream come true. Especially when you're, I mean, yeah, I think I kind of sometimes wonder, like, if I had contrast back when I was cranking through just a mountain of plague monks, or, you know, when I was doing my Skaven or clan rats or whatever, if I would have gotten so burnt out. I love white scars personally. Really love the Mongolian vibe they have. Okay, well, that's awesome. They seem cool. I know very little about them. That was just an observation that a lot of folks I find go for other ones. But also, until they have Primaris on bikes, I'm not... They seem to be in a kind of a strange place, because that was always their jam. And I'm sure they'll get them. I have no doubt about that. They spent, what, 25 years or so making the classic Space Marine. I think they're going to be stuck with Primaris for a long time. So they'll get bikes eventually, is what I mean. Currently painting my Nurgle Blight Kings. Contrast paints really helping. Nice. Yeah, I did. Most of my Nurgle army is done the traditional method because I wanted to make it really pop. And then I got to those last 10 Blight Kings and I was just kind of like emotionally done. And I was like, okay, we need to crank these out. And so I definitely did the contrast, mostly on the skins. But yeah. But honestly, I don't see myself using all the Blight Kings that I own anyway. So I just had some as a ringer in the background for if I wanted to do a very specific kind of list. Or attracted to the White Scars as a Horus Heresy army. Okay, right on. That makes sense. Let's see here. Just missed a quick spot on her skin. Got that. She's good. We missed their hands. I thought they were wearing gloves at first. You guys ever have those where like you're painting a model and then like the more you're working on it, you're seeing more detail as it goes? You're just like, oh, I definitely thought this lady here was wearing a glove. And then you realize as you're painting, you're like, that's not a glove. That's just her hand. Hey Doug, are you interested in 30K? I am and am not. Like I can't keep up with all the books. They put out so many books for that series. Can't keep up with it. But as far as like the actual like setting itself, am I interested? Oh yeah, it's a super cool thing. Framing something as crazy as like, you know, galactic civil war and all these space aliens, that kind of stuff, you know, having it be like that kind of very human, like you betrayed me, that kind of thing, understandable. I love it. I think they did a great job in the first few books of making it really feel like brothers pitted against brother kind of thing. And yeah, so I mean, I like it. The thing is like, so I was at Nova this last year and I was really paying acute attention to pretty much everything going on in the 30K room because they had the best looking models. They had the most laughs I heard from the convention hall. Like they were having a blast and I was like, this sounds amazing. Straight up. And so I was really paying attention to them. Seemed like great guys and gals. And the only thing is, I was asking them, like, oh, you know, how often do you get to play? And they're like, really just at these conventions. I was like, oh, man, that sucks, because, like, I don't really want to get an army that just sits on the shelf, you know, most of the year unless I travel for a convention. And that's kind of where my interest in it as a game kind of died out. But I am extremely interested in it, like, from a hobby perspective. Finding even smaller details. Yep. Life of a Thousand Suns player. So right now I'm just picking out her knee guards. Then we're going to go basically do a null oil wash on most of this. Alright. Escher's neat, yeah. Yeah, Escher's, they're my first gang. I'm going to be putting some good work into a Cawdor gang at some point. Because I love me some religious zealots. But yeah, I cranked out a Goliath gang very quickly. They're not my favorite aesthetically. But I had them, and I was like, you know what? I could use these guys. Especially if they keep pumping out cool supplication stuff like they did with the Goliath guys. Have you tried Trude Underworlds? Oh, have I tried them? You were loving them yourself. Okay, sorry, I had to take a second to read that over and over again. I definitely played Underworlds when it first came out, and then I tried again a couple months ago. The hardest thing was just finding people to play with locally, because you'll go into stores, right? And this, because I try to, like, you know, ingratiate myself with all the store owners locally, and they're saying, like, man, this stuff's flying off the shelf, and it is. Like, I can see the product rotation; it's like crazy, but they all play it at home, and so it's just hard to find a group. So it's interesting. I'm not really sure why that is, like what makes it like a game that you don't go to a game night for or something. But I do like it. I'm not a big list building game kind of guy. Never have been. But for example, like yesterday I downloaded the online version, which is still in like a open beta type thing, or a pre-release style game right now. But I mean, it's functional and it's cool. Was playing a little bit of that. Once I get reacquainted with the rules and that kind of stuff, I will throw my gamer tag up there so people can play with me. But yeah. Bandana on her arm. No Necromunda tournaments being held at all, or just in your area? I was talking about Underworlds when I said there's nothing going on locally, but as far as Necromunda goes, there are a few players. It's definitely a smaller category. But the games that I have gotten with local players, like, everyone seems to, we'll say, appreciate the nature of the game, and by that I mean understand that this is not a game that you play just to be cutthroat, right? These people, or folks, they get that it's a narrative game at its heart. It really, really is. Pretty much says so on the box, like, hey, you should try this as a narrative game. Try it as a campaign. Try it as this, you know. And folks will play however they want to play, and that's fine. But local stores here all have specific night they run Underworlds. The warbands help me get back into collecting. Okay, that's awesome. I don't know what it is. Like, yeah, they just with every store owner locally, it's the same thing. How's Underworld's doing? It's great. I'm selling them. I'm getting mad. Cool. When's game night? Oh, I don't have one. They don't come in. I'm like, okay. GW just released a statement on their website that they won't release new miniatures until at least May. Oh, I didn't see that. I'm actually fine with that. There's so much, I'm sure, that goes into a international product launch that it's probably best to wait. Especially when you got stuff like, financial backers, and you got to give like public reviews of how things launched and that kind of stuff. And that can't be fun. Let's see. How's your Space Dinos coming along? Recent Space Dinos talk you gotten me to buy in. Oh, awesome. Going skink heavy list for now. Picked up 3 getting started, a Slon, and another box of skinks. Holy crap, yeah, you are all in. And they're actually right up here above the view of the camera. They that's 15 Saurus Knights. So I'm going Saurus heavy, in sharp contrast to you, my friend. Just because I like Saurus. I know a lot of people don't, but Doug does. So I'm going Saurus heavy. I want to find a way to make Coatl's Claw interesting. And I might actually, once I get this washed on and it's drying, I might just bust out to my battle tome that's right next to me and read through it just a smidge, because there's just a lot of interesting stuff. How are you going to build out your skinks? Are you going to go with I want to try normal oil. Let's try something different. But they're going well. I don't know how I can always lose my null oil paint, because it's like a color I reach for every other time. My wallet is thankful for that release delay. You know, honestly, yeah, I've kind of been the same way. The only delay that I've heard of on the news that I've been like, oh, is an update for a game that I play, and that's about it. Everything else, I'm like, it's fine. Everyone go home, be safe, do whatever you want. Did you see the article for Seraph from the different realms? I don't know if I did. Was that... so I'll be honest with you. Since they changed the community site, I don't really care for it. So I find it harder to find the articles that I want. No, I haven't seen that one. But it sounds intriguing. Need a smaller brush, a little more control. There we go. Let's see, someone made a Axie Dino from the Fire Slayer spell bits. Oh yeah. They're a magma thing, whatever. I always liked that model. I'm always down for those kinds of conversions. Yeah, I'm glad they put that article out. I will definitely go check that out, because for as much as they talked about like the Seraphon descending to the other realms, they only talked really about one realm, how it affects them, which was Azir, right? How it makes them the Starborn. But all the other realms, it's just kind of like, and now they're all the same everywhere else. It's like, I know that's not what you mean, but it's kind of what you said. The Coatl's Claw landed in Gur, so I'm sure that'll make them very beastly and savage, so I'm very excited about that. Anything with Gur, I'm like, yes. Yes, please. I'll take 4. Want me to link it? YouTube won't let you. I've had this problem come up where like people try, I'm trying to link something, and like, for whatever reason the default chat is just like, nah. But I'll check it out later. Everyone can head to the community page. We're all going to be there, tomorrow night for the release thing? The not release show? Meaning, like, yeah, we're not at the vendor hall like we would be normally. Oh, actually, that's something we could talk about. Okay, wild speculation time. What do you think's going to get announced this weekend? I'll go first, right? Just because I'm waiting for that delay for when you guys hear what I say. I'm going to say the new edition of 40K will be announced. And I think it'll largely just be a cleanup of the current one. Not so much, kind of like how they went from AOS 1 to 2. It wasn't like a fundamental rewrite of the game. I'm going to say... What else do I want? What else do I want? I want Sons of Behemoth for a little giant action. Yeah. Get a new army out there. Signs of Flame. Oh, that's a good idea. Honest, I forget about them, if I'm super honest with you. Like, I forget that we were supposed to have another warband. Which I feel like is okay, because it seems like GW did too. Hey-o! Tyrion half of the elves. Do you think they're part of the same army? That's kind of been a little bit of a debate that's going on. If Teclis and Tyrion will be the same jam, or if he'll come back later and leading his own thing. I don't know. I'd imagine you're right in that they're part of the same force, just because that way they could kind of deal with the what do they call it? Daughters of Cain did, where they have half that are like normal, which would be the elves that we've seen so far, and then half that are like extreme. Blood Bowl 2020 announcement. Do you mean, when you say Blood Bowl, do you mean like as a video game, or do you mean it as like, new expansions and teams and stuff? Don't think Tyrion's going to be in the Realm Lords. I don't know. Because I feel like he would also be another big model, and they've already showed the big model for them. But everything that they've talked about with those two up until now has made them seem so, like, I don't know, so linked, that I understand people thinking that they would be part of the same army. Rumor says Cyanide B3 and new rule set this summer. Oh, interesting. I'd be down for that. I wonder how hard of a game that is to update, like as a video game. Honestly, that's at this point, that's the only interest I have in Blood Bowl is as a video game. But I'm sure I will gain more interest later on when they start previewing stuff. Either 4th Destruction faction or Malarian's faction. Hate to say this, but Destruction doesn't stand out to me as much as an alliance. Yeah. They don't have a whole lot going on right now. I would love to see more Destruction stuff. For sure. Okay. These girls are coming along. Oh, I missed part of her shoulder with the skin. Here, okay. We need Gilliman flesh. Actually made a live show. Just got home from teaching essential workers. Hey, hey. Let's see. I have some experience with updating rules for Blood Bowl as they progress. It's hard work, generally speaking. I can imagine that. Sons of Behemoth, so woot yeah. Okay, so now we reach what is always the crummiest time when it comes to these kinds of things, which is everything needs to just dry. Like I said, it's the one thing about contrast paints you gotta watch out for is if you rush it, you can actually pull the contrast paint off. But I love all the colors I put down. They're definitely a solid tabletop ready right now. All I gotta do is at least build a one layer highlight on the yellow. That's pretty much it. I might go back over the skin, but for the most part they look great. So let me put my paints away and we will have a chat about Seraph. Because I want to sit here and get people's feedback on an idea that I have. Well, not really so much an idea, but just we'll work through stuff together. How about that? Oscar, we did get an Ogre Warband. Yes, it is a hunter and some kitties or something like that with him. Is he out yet? I don't know. I know they previewed it. I can't remember if he's actually been released. All right. So let's take a look at this sucker. I want to be. So now here's the thing about this book that is interesting, okay? So the first thing you do is choose Coalesced or Starborn. We established that. Doug wants to play Coalesced because he wants to beat Jack, who is playing Starborn. For that I get, what is it? Get a few bonuses. Let's see. Ignore positive negative modifiers to your bravery. Add one to the attack characteristic of Jaws weapons. Okay, and the turn feature thing, which is kind of annoying, and then this -1 to damage inflicted to a unit. So let's see. Now we're going to go skip and jump over to Coattle's Claw. Ba-cha! These boys. Add one to hit rolls made by friendly Coattle's Claw Saurus units that made a charge move. That's going to include their bite, which they get an extra 1 of. You can use the command bow to start the combat phase. If you do so, pick one, blah, blah, blah. It counts as having charged for that purpose. That's fine. The first Coattle's Claw's hero to receive an artifact is a Viscerating Blade. That's a winning name right there. I love it. Which do you prefer thematically? Starborn or Coalesced? Coalesced, for me. Yeah, I'm not opposed to any of these. You can duck out of the command trait because it says Coattle's Claw Saurus General. So if you make something that's not a Saurus your general, you can bypass that. So let's see if we got anything. Any particular command traits? Did I skip them? I must have. Command traits. Okay, here we go. So it can't be a source. Boom. You can make a super wizard. Okay, okay. On a 4-up, you get an extra command point. There's one extra spell. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with one of the Slann ones. So yeah, the thing with Coatl's Claw is their Slann is actually like incapacitated. He can astral project himself to places, but he doesn't really leave the temple, and it's all run by Saurus warriors and that kind of stuff, which is a really cool thematic thing. So I think I'm going to do my Slann like as an ethereal kind of look, put more work into it than dunking it in Nighthaunt Gloom. We'll find out what I can do, but yeah, we'll do that kind of stuff and load up on Saurus. So I have 2 start collecting boxes of the Saurus stuff, and then also 2 boxes of the pterodactyls, the what are they called? Ripperdactyls and whatever the other thing were. So I have that, and then 2 boxes of Saurus Guard, the elite one, the Temple Guard, whatever they are now. So yeah, it's tons of jaw attacks, it's tons of bites. I like it. And this is for... yeah, this is the right one. This is the Coalesced. Okay. So yeah, I'm excited about these guys. It's going to be a project that's a little bit longer in the making. The only thing I'm a little bit bummed about is that not a single one of these battalions includes the Guard. It's just the Mega Battalion. That's fine. That's fine. We'll get around that. Get the Hexwraith Flame. Oh yeah. I actually think I bought a bottle of that recently. Yeah, it's the green one, right? Yep. Okay, okay. So I actually have enough to do Fire Lance, which is add 3 to run and charge rolls for units from this battalion that are wholly within 18 inches of the Scar Veteran. Awesome, I can do that. The only thing is I can't find a way in this book to do run and charge, because that would be insanity. But we'll figure it out. It might be an army where I vote to go second. Maybe. Give me one sec. Clean my glasses off. There we go. Pro painter. My Nighthaunt Gloom pulled, dried, cracked. Oh no. Are people still playing or using Bone Reapers at all? Seems like that faction came and went fast. Yeah, it's because everyone had a hissy fit and now we're all tired of talking about them. I'm going to chalk that up as a win for Doug. My prediction that in 6 months after that they were released, people wouldn't care. I'm like, yeah. Let's see. That one I can't do. That's all skink stuff. I can't do it. I just don't own the stuff for it. Up here, 3 swords. You can run and charge with big monsters in the Thunderquake Temple Host. That's true. I was trying to find a way to make my knights run and charge. But that is a super good thing. Okay, okay. Look at some of the profiles here. Everyone and their uncle plays LBR right now. So yeah, I actually have a Slann Star Master. What I need to find a way to do modeling wise is I need to find a way to make him look like he's from Gur, right? Because even though he's stuck inside the ship, he would still be getting more and more primal. I'll show you. So I got him pre-built. And I don't know if it shows up well on this camera, but where this tall, like, trophy rack, I don't know what else to call it, meets the actual seat, it's like on the cusp of falling apart. And so I'm actually thinking of doing is snapping that off, but I want to have an idea of what to replace it with to make it seem Gurish. You know what I mean? So if you guys have any suggestions on that, let me know. I was thinking everything from like, you know, going and getting the skull kit box and putting a big skull on top. That would look cool for sure. But yeah, so that would definitely Jack says that because everything's upside down and no one's playing AOS. I am correct. That's right. I am technically correct. The best kind of correct. Exactly. So if you have an idea of what I can put on top here, so it would be cutting off that much. Animal furs. Okay. Bone split is flat. I think I have some of those. I think I have some of those old bone splitter ones. Some kind of monster head. I don't know. What to play around with. I will be honest, this salon is the most interesting part of the army to me. Just having, like, I love armies with a central figure that everything is built around, like, narratively. Maybe the pauldron from the skull of the Mega Boss. Ooh. I don't think I have. I can try to see. That'd be a $40 skull. Let me see if I can find something else first. Use the banner from the top of the Mega Boss. Maw Crusher. Big skull from the skulls kit. Yeah, I was thinking the big skull from that kit would totally work. I don't know. I'm interested. Sparehead from a Stegodon kit would look sweet. Oh yeah. I'll have to see. I'll have to raid my bits bin. So I need to establish that. So I know I want to do something with Koal's Claw, because I like Source. That's kind of the Source themed one. What I need to decide is between, where are they at? Pterodons and Ripperdactyls. That's what they're called. So I need to make a choice here. Which one's which? So Pterodons are the ones that have the once per game drop bombs on your opponent, and their chief makes them way better at doing that, so that's a sweet surprise. And the Ripperdactyls are the ones where you can place a token and they get better at fighting. Now the nice thing is that I think that counts as a jaw weapon for the purposes of where's it at? Add one to attacks characters whose jaw is weapons. Yep. So that Ripperdactyl's mouth would work. I guess technically so with the pterodactyls, or pterodons, but yeah. Omniphage votes pterodons. Yeah, I can see that, especially because if I can't get the knights to run and charge, I can at least throw these guys forward aggressively, and they can blow stuff up, move the knights up behind them onto objectives, and then everything else can run as fast as it can. If it says Jaws in the name, it counts. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right, because the biggest difference here to me is the 12 and the 16 when it comes to their movement. The Ripper ability is now a once per game thing. Yeah, I saw that. You basically spend the token. But the nice thing is you get a number of tokens equal to the number of units. So if I have 2 units of them, I get 2 opportunities to do it. So per unit, yes, it's once per game. Is it possible to bite a Saurus back? Not if they take your head off. Anyway. So let's see what we got accomplished today. Let's see these girls. How are they doing? I think they look good. So there's Nadine, my shotgun warrior. Okay. So really all I've left on these girls is the minor details, like the feathers they have on them. Just kind of filling in some gaps with a wash. And that is basically it. We cranked these out. These are almost done. We did it all in this single hobby stream, and I could have done more if I had more to paint. I think they're looking great. Omniphage Saurus Knights get 7 attacks, 5 of them from the jaws. Nice. I dig it. Yes, hopefully they will become very nasty. Let's see. Asking for someone who doesn't know anything about them. How close or they're kind of divergent, I'm going to be honest. The Coalesced, which is the kind of... So when you pick to play Seraph on, you have to pick either to be Starborn or Coalesced. It's like sub-factions. The Starborn are a huge departure from Total War. The Coalesced are much more like you would find. Lots of skinks, being very mobile. Saurus are more aggressive warrior types, that kind of stuff. Slann is super important. As far as lore goes, wildly different. Well, I don't know if it's wildly different. I mean, it's the next step on their journey because they're technically the same dudes from the old world. You know, I'm just going to say go watch my Seraphon videos. There's a lot going on there. It is really close lore-wise because it builds, all the stuff in AOS builds off the foundation that was laid in Lizardmen in Fantasy Battles. So if you know that, this is just the next step in it. So yeah. Brennan asked, Doug, do you think that Starborn or Coalesced are better? Probably in terms of gameplay, Starborn are still better. In terms of what I like the most, I'm going to say Coalesced. Because you know what it is? Lords of Space and Time is an ability where you can teleport a unit. No die rolls, you just teleport them. And that is incredibly powerful. Not even the summoning, forget the summoning, you don't have to summon anything. Just being able to teleport is huge. We'll do Doug going for the shameless plug. Shameless plug. Where did I plug? Oh, my videos. Yeah. Well, it's shameless because it's a lot to explain. That's why I make my dozens of videos. Anyway, friends, I'm going to go ahead and hop off here. Go wake up for the day. You should definitely, if you have not already, go visit AOS Coach on Twitter because he has a full schedule. I forgot to link it here, but I will afterwards. With all the folks, the content creators who are hanging out during the Adeptican't weekend, as we're all making all kinds of stuff, all kinds of content just to hang out. I will definitely be back on maybe tonight, just playing some video games, just chilling. I'm going to work on videos today, and I hope to see you all later. I don't have a time for that or anything, but yeah, thank you all so much for joining me. I will catch you next time.